Thank you, Craig. Dr. Fred Singer. Bringing a bag with you.
Thank you. Well, this thick report you see here is testimony to the work over many years of the ITSO group in Arizona, Sherwood ITSO, who's a pioneer in this field, and his two sons, Craig and Keith. And I think he's very fortunate to have two sons like that who were able to carry forward the work that he started so many years ago. Those who follow the website on CO2, on carbon dioxide science, will know that this volume represents years of work that has appeared on this website. We've all profited from this. Well, after this, all I can add is perhaps 3 summarizing points about NIPCC. The main point, of course, is our result. We see no evidence whatsoever for the IPCC claim that the warming of the last 50 years is due to human activities. On the contrary, and to carry forward the presentation by Professor Linson, we see evidence against man-made global warming. That is the main result of NIPCC. The second point, once you recognize that we're dealing with natural forcings and not human forcings, is that all of the excitement, all the to-do about this is nonsense. It makes no sense. All of the activities about mitigating carbon dioxide, which is not a pollutant, are pointless, very expensive, and completely ineffective. They will have no effect on the climate. In fact, they will even have little effect on the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere. And finally, the third point, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but I think we all realize that this is really not about science. What is going on now, not only in Washington, but in Europe and in other places in the world, is money and power. That's what it's all about. There's no one who really believes that the legislative efforts that are now being carried forward in the Congress, or the endangerment finding of the EPA, will have the slightest impact on the world climate, or even on carbon dioxide levels. So I thought I would just end without going into the science. I'm sorry I have to say this because, we all think science is very important, but we have to deal with realities. So let me quickly move towards the end of this, if I can figure out how to do this. Oops. Can we move this forward? Keep going, keep going, keep going. This is the summary. Keep going. Oh yes, for one moment. I just wanted to take a brief moment to tell you and to demonstrate that the science is not settled. Identified about 8 different problems about which there is dispute, and some of which are really unsolved. Number 1 and 2 are the most important problems, and those are the ones that have already been discussed by Professor Linson and also discussed in the NIPCC report. But there are many other problems. natural forcing? Is it internal oscillations or is it solar? Is there committed warming in the pipeline? If we stop emitting carbon dioxide, will the climate continue to warm or not, according to the models? How good are the surface temperature records? What is the residence time of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere? Is it 5 years, as some publications suggest, or is it over 3,000 years, as other publications suggest? Obviously, it makes a big difference. Why is abrupt climate change so prominent during the ice ages? Why don't we see it now? And finally, sea level rise. Is it constant? Is the rate constant, or has it been accelerating? That's another important dispute. But quickly to move on. Let's go fast. This is just to demonstrate that the models don't work. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. We don't have time to do this. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Shows the models don't agree with the observations. A great quote from the IPCC, which contradicts their own work. Keep going. Keep going. Further. 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 Yep, next one. Okay, now we're ready. We're finished with the science. Let's look at what's really going on here. The battle over global warming and low carbon policies will not be decided over scientific issues. It will be determined by governments and lawmakers on the basis of politics and special interests. Next slide. This I think you will enjoy. Here's our expert in the Congress, Congressman Henry Waxman, the great climate expert, expressing himself in an interview. I will read it. We're seeing the reality of a lot of the North Pole starting to evaporate, and we could get to a tipping point. Because if it evaporates to a certain point, they have lanes now where their ships can go that couldn't ever sail through before. And if it gets to the point where it evaporates too much, there's a lot of tundra that's being held down by the ice cap. That is actually the chairman of the committee that has drafted the important legislation on cap and trade. This is from the hearing of the EPA. The hearing EPA has decided that CO2 is in danger to human health and welfare, and this is our statement. I'll read it to you. We reject the current climate models that have not been verified by observational data. We reject the IPCC conclusion that human activity causes significant warming and that CO2 is a pollutant. And we urge you to reject the EPA endangerment finding as unscientific and fatally flawed. And now we have cap and trade. What's it all about, Alfie? Well, here's the Waxman-Markey bill. It's not about climate. It's about money. It's a huge tax. The budget, the White House budget, projects income from carbon trade to be $650 billion. It's in the budget. Informed experts believe it will be 3 times as much, perhaps $2 trillion. That's the tax. Waxman-Markey have already given away 85% of that to favored industries and other special interests, and only 15% may go to the Treasury to be refunded, perhaps, to low-income consumers. That is the sad truth. Next slide. Thank you very much.